Hi, Tucker. I'm Todd. Hi, Todd. I'm Tucker.
I have arrived. Do you read me?
I read you, Space Commander.
I'm supposed to be number 1.
Oh, did you already call me number 2?
No, it's a Star Trek reference.
Oh, I know I've seen one episode of Star Trek because I asked my Star Trek friend which episode I need to watch if I'm going to watch one.
Which episode was it?
The one where Data makes a kid.
That's probably a pretty good one, yeah.
I cried.
Order a man to hand his child over to the state? Not while I'm his captain.
But actually, I need to finish. I'm rewatching Arrested Development, and then I do actually want to watch Next Generation all the way through.
The Next Generation is my favorite Star Trek.
I mean, that episode really grabbed my attention. I feel like watching Star Trek is going to give me the feelings I wish I could get from an MMO, but I know that I will never get again because I'm not actually going to put the time commitment in.
What feelings would those be exactly?
Like being immersed in a well plotted out universe.
Well, I don't know if you'll find it to be well plotted out. It's very episodic. It's not like DS9 and other later Star Trek incarnations where there's like an entire meta plot to the season.
If that is a feeling that I want from a show, should I watch one of those then?
If you want continuity, where characters really change from episode to episode as they learn new things and have new experiences, probably Deep Space Nine. But Deep Space Nine is also just ugly in comparison to the Next Generation.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. But I like the characters. I feel like Next Generation has the best characters.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the Next Generation never really got heavily criticized for being episodic, is because even though the characters weren't really developing a lot, they were already quite developed. There are a couple of two-parters, and there are the occasional callbacks to events that occurred earlier. But for the most part, everything is wrapped up by the end of the episode, and it doesn't come back again.
But I mean, the universe has a lore, though, is more what I meant. Yeah.
It sure does, and the Next Generation is probably Star Trek at its most shining and optimistic.
Yeah, so that's good with me. But speaking of space,
Speaking of space,
I wanted to talk about space this week because Neil Blomkamp was on Joe Rogan and was talking about things that inspire him lately. And he was talking about a Peter Watts book called Blindsided, in which I told you about the vampire concept, but the vampire he is a space pirate.
Pretty hard for a vampire to avoid sunlight completely while out in the void of space.
Yeah, I don't know all of the backstory behind the vampire, but I do like space pirates. And then I proposed that we should do a space pirates thing. It doesn't need to be all that sci-fi, and I don't know. I mean, obviously it's going to be sci-fi either way, but we wanted to go with more of a throwback.
Well, yeah, there's an aesthetic that I want to maintain. We can definitely have we gotta have stuff like eye patches. Gotta have stuff like peg legs. Gotta have a hook for a hand. Gotta have a parrot. But all of these things can be like cyberpunky kind of cybernetics.
Yeah, okay. Well, because the one very specific thing that we had mentioned was having old timey diving bell helmets as their space helmets, and so that I feel would those be cyberpunky?
Those are more steampunky, but those are very appropriate for the space slaves. They're all connected by their dumb little old fashioned bell diving helmets,
Oh,
and they've
right.
got like a single oxygen tube that connects them all together and tethers them to their oxygen supply, so none of them can escape.
I forgot what prompted the aesthetic for the helmets in the first place was. Okay, so to go back a little bit, space pirates. The very next thought I proposed was that we because I think have we talked about we were talking about space slavery. We were talking about Mr.
Yeah,
Amazon.
exactly. As soon as Amazon branches out into space, they're going to have warehouses of really, really, really poorly paid and really, really, really poorly treated staff who are going to be basically living in indentured servitude out in space.
Was there a premise that we were discussing that his name came up, or did it just, I can't even remember anymore.
You came up with it, and I think you made a Beelzebub pun about it.
Oh, that was in this one. Yeah, I thought it would be funny if he was called Jeff Bezolbub because he's the slave trading space demon.
He is some kind of bizarre, otherworldly life form, and he definitely hires out, like rugged, nasty space pirate folks to keep his workers in line in space.
How funny would it be if all of this turns out being? I'm sorry, I just want to put a pin in this because I was trying to figure out how the threads connected. How funny would it be if Grimes is actually like a space queen, and Jeff Bezos and I was about to call him Orrin Hatch, and I have no idea why, Elon Musk are the only people in the world that know it. And going to space is their mating ritual. They are trying to lure. They are trying to peacock for her to show her who can be the best spaceman. And Jeff Bezos is being more of a spaceman so that he can show her that he has the resources to create the space elevator back to her realm.
Interesting. So
I lost the plot. It was a big thought that came very quickly.
So they're simping.
Yeah, they basically are. Oh, interesting.
They're space simping.
Is all biological, like when a monkey like strong legs or whatever, when you're trying to demonstrate your fitness, when you fitness flex, is that all simping?
You know what? Maybe all of evolution and natural selection is just simping.
That's interesting. We might have to do rework. What is simp an acronym for that has to do with selection intervened? I don't know, an evolutionary biology thing. That's funny.
I mean, it seems pretty accurate to me. That's all of that peacocking, because that's all peacocking is just trying to simp, man.
Well, it's kind of funny, and Elon already has the baby with Grimes, and so this is actually it's Twilight, but instead of Team Edward and Team Jacob, it's Team Jeff and Team Elon.
And whoever else wants to try to break out into space, there's a bunch of lunatics who are after that race.
Yeah, well, because they've finished capitalizing the planet, and so they need to go into the next frontier.
We're gonna privatize the moon.
I think. Oh, I was gonna say I think that's a song, but no, it's colonize the moon. Privatize the moon is interesting.
Colonize and then privatize.
Obvious.
You gotta sell those moon people their own air.
Well, that's the Lorax.
I can't clearly remember how that story goes. I just remember we chopped down a tree and he was in it. Was it the last tree?
Yeah, it was the last tree, and now we're the last person, and he goes away, and it's our responsibility to bring the Earth back.
Gonna be hard to do with 0 trees left. Thanks, Lorax.
Yeah, why didn't you just fucking protect it, you ass?
Couldn't you have been in the second to last tree?
Yeah, this is the tree that I protect the last tree from.
I mean, really. At that point, there's only one option, and that is probably, resignation. We just submit to the planet.
I mean, that's kind of what the Lorax did. He was like, all right, I did my best. I'm out. Peace. And he like disappeared.
Yeah, well, the most profound lesson that I ever learned from Dr. Seuss is 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish.
Anyways, I want to go back to space.
Yeah. All right, we're going back to space. We're hopping. I don't know. Do we have a space elevator or are we taking a rocket?
Okay, well, so we need a story. We have at least one character, Jeff Bezolbub. Oh, we also have Blackbush, the Dread Pirate. Is her Blackbush dreaded?
I think that might be taking it a little too far.
I mean, given that her name is Blackbush, what does she look like in your mind?
Well, she's definitely got an eye patch. Nobody can see her bush, as it turns out, but she assures everyone that it's there.
Oh, does she wear a merkin over her clothes?
You know what? Why not? Either a merkin or she just has a cutout that just lets it hang out.
A very classy cutout.
Well, yeah, it's like in the shape of like a heart or something. No, it's
a Jolly Roger. It's a skull and crossbones.
Oh, do you think that's better than like a diamond?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a fleur de lis.
Oh, very interesting. What exactly is a dread pirate? Where does that word come from?
I'm gonna assume that a Dread pirate is just a pirate who happens to inspire dread. It sounds to me like someone with a fearsome reputation.
Is this Dread Pirate similar to the Dread Pirate Roberts?
I imagine that this Dread pirate is very similar to Blackbeard because all we're doing is just gonna gender swap Blackbeard.
Yeah, I guess so. That is what it is.
Blackbeard was definitely a dreaded pirate.
And so is she in charge of the mercenaries that are used to keep the slaves in line?
Yes. Now here is something to ask: is what's the nature of? I'm gonna need you to tell me, Mr. Amazon's Beelzebub name again.
I think it's just Jeff Bezolbub.
Bezolbub. All right, Bezolbub. What is the nature of her relationship with Bezolbub, and does he ever simp for her?
Oh, I guess that's an interesting thing. We're using this to make a statement that all these guys are just simping.
They're, I don't, I, they're doing something that suggests to me that they're vaguely insecure, if you know what I mean.
I do like. You've probably seen the memes or whatever the proper terminology is for like the development of uh bookstore Jeff Bezos to evil villain Jeff Bezos.
No, but I did see the meme where he was designing his own penis to send into space.
Yeah, I guess that was a repeated one for a bit.
That's all they wanted to do was send their own dicks to space, and frankly, that's what's happening here.
It is literally he's sending his dick into space and Elon is sitting there making 420 jokes.
While also plotting to send his dick into space.
And what's the other one? The Virgin guy? I can't even remember his name anymore.
I don't remember, so I'm just gonna call him the Virgin Guy, like you said.
Oh, do we have a character in this called the Virgin guy?
If we do, Blackbush is gonna absolutely terrorize him.
I was gonna say it's Blackbush's like gimp or what's the like cabin boy character.
So he basically catches all of the abuse.
Yeah.
He is just permanently on shit detail. Like all the worst possible jobs he gets assigned that. He gets
But Jeff
that he has to fetch the tea.
but Jeff Bezolbub is jealous of him because he gets to be there. He is with her.
I thought he was after Grimes anyways.
Well, I think that is a totally separate story. That's Jeff Bezos. This is Jeff Bezolbub.
Well, I think an overarching goal is what Bezalbub needs, besides Blackbush's bush.
So yeah, I guess what is his motivation for all of this space enterprise in this story?
Is it the same motivation as all of his Earth-based enterprise, which is basically just unrestrained greed?
Well, his unrestrained greed is so I don't know. It's sort of like anomalous in the specific numbers. It starts to get sort of inconceivable. Speaking of Dread Pirate Roberts, inconceivable. I can't do a Leonard. What? Wait, Sean something Sean. Why can't Wallace Sean?
You've made one of the classic blunders.
Yeah. Never go again to Sicilian with death is on the line. But I meant to say
The numbers are
the
anomalous.
numbers are it was inconceivable because is it simply greed? He's at a place of it where it's like, is it something beyond that? Not saying it's something particularly
I think I've got it. Bezalbub is an alien, and he needs to build a large enough enterprise so that he can build some kind of super ship that will take him back home.
so is he an alien or is he a demon as per his name?
You know what? We have a universe where the distinction isn't really important.
Is he trying to get
It could be the same thing. He's trying to go back to his dimension, but as a being from another reality is still an alien to this one.
Right. Well, I mean, so we could mix some interesting things here because Beelzebub is just another name for like Satan. It's a Satan. And Satan was the Lucifer who fell from heaven. So is this Satan trying to get back to heaven as per Space Pirates?
Interesting. So, are we just going to go ahead and take the stance that Mr. Amazon might be the devil?
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, yeah.
All right, then we're going to go with that. He is trying to build a space elevator all the way up to the pearly gates.
I love that a lot.
So first he had to take over industry on planet Earth so that he could amass enough resources to begin trying to take over space, because I guess he's not very smart. So he thinks that he just has to go up.
Well, yeah, because we all talk about how heaven is in the clouds. First, he shot for the clouds. He got there. He realized it was a lie, or a myth, or whatever. And he's like all the other end of the worlders, where he's like, well, I guess it's just the next one. I just keep going.
Yeah, he's like, I guess it must be even higher up than this, and so he just keeps going up. And so, of course, since he's the fucking devil, he doesn't value things like human life, which is why he basically enslaves them and replaces them as though they're nothing more than tools and numbers on a spreadsheet. So, of course, he hires a dread pirate to oversee lots of operations in space because he needs lots of cruel taskmasters to handle these kinds of things.
Now, is she in any way a demon, or is she a cyborg, or does she have any sci-fi to her?
Uh, I'm gonna assume that she's a bit of a grizzled pirate, so she's probably got a few replacement parts. Like have you ever seen Treasure Planet?
Well, yeah. That's the Treasure Planet is my main source material for all space pirate things.
Then yeah, she's got some mechanical cybernetic parts. And now that I think more about how Lucifer, Satan, Beelzebub, Baal, Mephistopheles, whoever you want to talk about, views humanity probably with a great deal of contempt, and probably has even more contempt for those humans who are willing to turn on other humans, which means he might not actually be simping for our dread pirate after all, and simply regard her as a tool of necessity.
Well, yeah. Now that we are establishing what his character is, then we can figure out what his relationships are.
Which means maybe it's her who's into him, and he's totally grossed out by her interest.
Oh, is he as gay as South Park Satan?
Uh, nah, he's probably just entirely asexual.
I think that's preferable. Oh, because then we can also play around with him being a demon with no, like, he can have a demon form with no clothes and be completely also. Forgot the word.
He's a Ken doll.
He's a Ken doll. Yeah.
He has no genitalia. He never had any genitalia. He is sexless. He is gendered though. He still regards himself as a he.
Right.
That's how that big red asshole has always been portrayed, with the exception of that one movie with Brendan Fraser,
Oh,
in which the devil was a lady.
bedazzled,
It was probably bedeviled.
bedeviled.
I don't remember. All I know is she was pretty. But we need to stick with Mr. Amazon being the devil in this one. So he's just like a creepy bald life form.
Yeah. And I kind of want to avoid. I mean, it would be cool if we could avoid as many devil tropes as possible. Actually, like obviously some of them have to be there.
Yes, he's not. I mean, if you want him to have a devil form, that should probably be red and horny. But otherwise, he should probably just be himself, which is basically discount Doctor Evil.
I liked how in Hercules, their Hades was like this schmoozy
Friendly.
character. I can't say that. Fuck.
I love James Williams. You can't say that, but he was very schmoozy.
I think he even says, "We'll dance, we'll schmooze. We go home happy. What do you say?"
Yeah, he does say schmooze. He right out of Hades' own mouth. Frankly, that's how I think any kind of underworld creature, like anybody who's the boss of the underworld and has to make deals with people on the regular, probably behaves just like that.
Well, yeah, they're sociopaths. They're socially manipulating every moment.
Yes, it's got to have that same kind of faux charm, you know. It's razor
Okay.
thin too, because as soon as you irritate them sufficiently, the charm disappears and the maniac comes out.
Jeff Bezolbub has the energy of a manager at a McDonald's.
Does he get like crazy eyes when he gets mad? Even in his
Yeah, you can see the fire in them.
yeah, even in his normal human form, he still needs to have like one tell. And I think maybe giving him like just scary crazy eyes might be the way to do it. Like when Ron Burgundy was told that his hair looked stupid and he had just like explosions in his eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely.
I especially like the way he threw her. Oh, you can't do that.
That was a real toss. I'm trying to think of what our aesthetic of the fire in the eyes would be if it would just be like a shot of like a sparkler candle in the eyes.
Oh, I like that because then it's fiery, but it's also kind of innately harmless and muted. Like, because sparklers are just so fucking benign and boring, especially if at least one person notices and is like, "Was that little those little sparklers?" No, it's the flames of hell. I don't know. It looks kind of like those little sparklers you get at kids' birthday parties, and then he gets all mad and has a sulk, a devil sulk.
I like that as a scene. He's asking the devil directly, "Are those sparklers in your eyes?" And he's very insistent that no, it's the fires of
I
hell.
mean, the devil's got to be insecure. After all, his sin was supposed to be pride,
That's true.
and that whole pride thing, especially excessive pride, it's always just kind of like a thin shell that's wrapped around a huge amount of insecurity.
Usually, Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, well, he simply isn't there.
Okay, I would like to know how this scene starts.
Okay, does it start on Earth and Bezolbub is actually taking somebody onto the elevator to give them a tour of his operation up in past the clouds?
Interesting. Or do we start in the past and make it very obvious that it is a Lucifer parody, and we have Lucifer being cast out of heaven, and then like several thousand years later, and then we see Jeff Bezos loading people onto the space elevator.
Do we want to give away that he's the devil right away?
I see. That's how I'm not sure how to approach this. Is it funnier if we let that?
We should probably save the reveal. If we want that to be like a Bezalbub is the devil thing, we should probably save it till like a midpoint. Not necessarily the end, but
I guess
but
his
he should
name
probably be introduced as Bezalbub first rather than being introduced as the devil.
is it a slow reveal? We see his name on signs or whatever, Jeff Bez, and then it's cut off, so there's a little bit of a misdirect, and then like second or third scene after we've had a little bit of time to get used to the idea that it's Jeff Bezos, we reveal that it's Jeff Bezalbub and it's sort of a different story.
Yeah. We could he could have his name on the side of his stupid space elevator, and also of course it has to be like a regular traditional elevator just right out of an office building. So it's just like a shaft all the way up into the
Yeah, it's just a
sky.
very
Yeah, it's
thin
really,
shaft
really, really
disappearing
tall
into the sky.
elevator with absolutely no additional structure to it whatsoever. Nobody knows how it stays up. I sure don't. I'm not a mechanical engineer, but anyway, he's got an elevator.
Well, as long as it's connected to the other side, then it's good.
It's connected to a goddamn space station or something.
Like the relay station.
I have no idea, and I don't know why the space station isn't actually orbiting the planet correctly, because it would have to be. Well, I guess it would be kind of orbiting because the planet's spinning, but it has to remain stationary over the elevator, or it's just going to snap it.
Yeah, because it technically has to go faster than the Earth is spinning because it's further out.
That's correct.
I know some science, not a lot.
Physics. That's just math,
I guess technically.
and I'm not good at math.
But wait a second, is math a science?
No, math is actually a kind of a subset of logic, and logic is one of the five main branches of philosophy.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Do mathematicians like when you call?
No, they don't. Just call them logicians and see what they think.
It's like doctors and chiropractors, but I mean, yeah,
You mean real doctors and fake doctors?
precisely. Grifters, and well-paid grifters.
Ouch.
My here's some philosophy. The best way to get a misdiagnosis from a doctor is to tell them what you think is wrong with you.
That is, they hate that.
They hate that. Fuck you. I'm gonna go to the exact opposite page of what I know it is, and that's what you have. Have fun in the prescription line.
Have fun getting radiation.
Yeah, have fun on the waiting list.
What's that? You're not eligible for a new heart. This got dark and mean. We don't actually have negative feelings towards our health practitioners.
No. I mean, this is one of those not all doctors are bastards, but all doctors are people and all people are bastards.
That I can get behind, because I'm a people and I'm a bastard.
Bastards Anonymous.
All anonymous are bastards.
I can agree with that. Have you been paying attention to this Sigma male stuff?
Uh, not really, but the occasional meme still creeps by. I'm not 100% sure that I understand what any of it means.
I don't know if it's confirmed yet by people that are actually like paying attention to it, but my theory is that it's basically, you know, when 4chan said that the OK sign was white supremacist.
Got him. Yeah.
I think that's what this is because basically, when you go through all these lists of like what makes a Sigma male, what a Sigma male is basically the diagnosis checklist for autism spectrum disorder and ADHD.
Maybe that's why I vaguely find it confusing, is because of my ADHD.
Yeah, but it's for people. I think it's for teenagers who need a sense of like identity and acceptance, and it's basically idiot propaganda for them. And I feel like 4chan is turning out, hey, let's take the diagnosis list for common neuroatypical disorders, and we'll say that it's a new type of not quite alpha male, but maybe sort of better than alpha males. Don't you guys love all that
Yeah,
identity
see,
stuff?
not just better, but like apart from.
Yeah,
So not beta, but apart from the alpha. So everybody wants to be outside of the food chain.
Tyler Durden.
That's the kind of thing that I idolize. He's not an alpha male. He's kind of totally stepped outside of that hierarchy, and he looks down on the entire thing.
The entire thing, which is all bullshit. Hey, if you want to look down on the entire thing, then how about just dismiss it rather than get involved?
Yeah, that's what Tyler Durden actually would have done too. He wouldn't have just created a new position for himself outside of it. He would have dismissed the entire thing outright. It's just a construct. It's a social construct, man, and we need to burn down society.
I
Which was kind of his thing.
Yeah, I mean they burned down a small section of society.
Yeah, it was just destruction of all those kinds of social constructs, starting with commerce, I guess. Anyway, there's a space elevator, and on the side of it, it spells Jeff Bezolbub. But Simpsons style, there's a cloud that blocks part of the Bezolbub.
Yes, yeah.
And as it passes by, as we're following the elevator up, because somewhere on the shaft it still has to have a stupid little indicator light that says where the elevator is, so that we have kind of like a visual measurement of where it is, because it's entirely inside of the shaft.
Yeah.
Or either that, or like, would it have a few plate glass sections so that he can see out and point and laugh at all the people still on planet Earth, I guess.
It would be kind of funny if it was just it actually had doors and floors and a little light indicator for every single floor, but they just didn't use any of them.
I like that so much better.
So you see it going ding, 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 and then it gets faster and faster.
Oh wow. Yeah, we're gonna have to go really fast and then decelerate once we get closer to the space station.
Is everybody's clothes all disheveled when they get to the top? Well, they're all slaves. They're all disheveled anyway.
Yeah, all the slaves are disheveled. In fact, they were never shoveled.
They were never that's one of those things. Can you be shoveled as much as you can be gruntled?
Gruntled sounds an awful lot like it would mean what disgruntled means.
Yeah, disgruntled and gruntled sound like the same thing.
Oh, English. Anyway, the clouds part or pass by enough for us to see the Bezolbub while we're traveling.
And that's that reveal. But so everybody there knew that already because he is already famous. This is for audience perspective. I'm also curious, did the slaves, so these slaves, do they find out that they're going to be slaves as soon as they get up there? They've all been promised a new like brilliant future, or do they already know that they are some underclass?
Oh no, they get the exact same sort of corporate propaganda that everybody who ever got a job working for Amazon got. New opportunities, blah blah blah, upward mobility, blah blah blah.
So they are actually all people who are
Competitive wages, benefits, blah blah blah. So they think they're just signing up for a job in space, which is really exciting, which is something that this company is banking on, is that people are going to be led by their excitement rather than by real promises of benefits and compensation.
And the thing is, I think I'm kind of one of those people. I'm kind of nihilistic enough at this point
Me
that if
too.
they said there's a small chance you could die in the first 3 months, but you get to be a person who worked in
New and interesting. It'd be none of the humdrum of Earth.
precisely.
Everything would be constantly super dangerous. It would be like being sailors that go looking for deep sea crabs and shit. Life expectancy of approximately 12
You
seconds.
don't even need to pay me in money. You can just keep me stocked in, I don't know, snacks. I'm good. I'm assuming I get lodging in space.
Yeah, I would need lodging and snacks, but so long as room and board was paid for, I would go to space pretty much for free.
That becomes the mission of this podcast. It's you and I trying to get jobs somewhere in space.
Apparently, it's us trying to get indentured servitude in space.
Okay, are Tucker and Todd in this sketch at all? Are any of our cast and crew a part of it, or is it all new folk?
I want to be a pirate.
Oh, okay, we're pirates. Are we kind of like new recruits?
In fact, since I'm the small one, I should probably be the parrot on your shoulder.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You might have to scale me down a little bit for that.
It would also be funny if you were just the same size standing on my shoulder.
Can't I sit?
Yeah, that too. And if you just got a parrot costume on, or are you an actual parrot?
No, I've got a parrot costume on.
With the eye patch and everything.
No, you have the eye patch. I'm just like in a bad pirate or in a bad parrot costume. Pirate parrot. Now I understand why they're friends.
They got confused. Oh, it was on when Noah was calling the animals 2 by 2 onto the ark. He called, "Okay, next parrots," and they thought he had an accent. Though two stepped up, a pirate and a parrot.
And they've
together.
been a pair ever since.
I picked a peck of pirate parrots.
All right, so yeah, I guess I could have something a little bit piratey. Maybe I have, like it's got like one of those animal hoods on it, where like it's got the upper section of the beak on my forehead, and then the parrot's head actually has its own pair of eyes.
Okay, yeah,
So it could have an eye patch on. It could have an eye patch on one of those.
sure. And but do you have a wooden leg? A little parrot with a little wooden leg?
I mean, why not? I'm not using my legs anyway.
No.
But you definitely need an eye patch, and you need to look grizzled, and maybe your spiky beard should be even bigger and spikier.
Oh, interesting. I have a Davy Jones face.
Oh, you think you want to trade out your beard spikes for some tentacles,
No, I think
some nice feelers?
I mean that's sort of fun, but I don't know if that's actually appropriate. I don't know if we have mutant magical creatures. We have a demon.
This is space where we have cybernetics and other crazy shit. We definitely have mutants.
I guess that's true.
And also, you're already a cat person, so being a squid cat person isn't too huge of a leap.
I like the idea of the tentacles and they're still just the same color as my spikes.
But are they're not animated, so they're gonna have to be drawn in such a way that they just kind of look like they're squirming around.
I have little movement lines on them.
Well, a couple of them will be coiled. One of them will be like holding up a pipe or something.
Ooh, that's really cool. I like that. Is that a thing that's in that movie?
Yes.
Dang. I was like, that would be sick.
Not only do his face tentacles hold his pipe, they light his pipe while they hold it.
Well, then I want to do that, but I want to make it silly. What's a silly thing that you could do with it rather than light a pipe? Or maybe it fumbles lighting a pipe?
You could play a kazoo or a harmonica.
That's funny.
Harmonicas are always funny, and it adds like a little bit of audio device to things. You can start using it as the punchline to jokes. When other people are talking, you can interrupt them with it.
Oh, instead of a harmonica, I have a little palm accordion, and the tentacles are playing the little palm accordion.
That will also be a little trickier because this is a still image.
Well, it just shows it suspended between the two tentacles. I've been trying to show still images. Did you watch my music video?
I did.
Ahem. You can also watch the music video on our YouTube channel or a Tucker Todd show on Instagram.
So they can sit still and hold an instrument, and I can pretend they're playing it.
Well, since you're dedicated to this accordion, are you sure you don't want it to be a hurdy-gurdy?
Oh, that's kind of funny too. Do I have? So does that mean we also have a monkey?
No, I think you're good. You have a parrot. You don't need more pets.
Oh, I don't have a parrot. I have a Tucker dressed in a parrot costume, and so when I'm playing the hurdy-gurdy, I tell you put on the monkey costume, and you never want to.
I'm already in my costume.
Yeah, I don't do costume changes.
Shh, I'm a parrot.
Yeah. Dude, we're supposed to be pirates. I'm your parrot. So are we new recruits on Blackbush's crew then?
Yes, definitely greenhorns. Like, we're brand new. We've never pirated before. All of our credentials are totally falsified, which is fine because we want to be pirates. So, faking stuff is par for the course.
Are we heavily
We've totally fabricated our reputation.
Are we the protagonists? Are we heavily involved in the story?
I'm not sure this story even has a protagonist, but we do kind of. I don't know if I would say we lead the story, but it kind of the focus revolves, or at least it's near us. It's adjacent to us pretty much at all times when it's not totally directed on Bezolbub.
So is it us kind of like idiotically bumbling around the space station? Is that how we are the ones who happen upon and discover that he's actually we discover that he's trying to get to heaven and like what's actually going on?
Are we riding the elevator with him to get up to the space station as these new recruits?
Oh no, I thought we were mercenaries. I think we're on Blackbush's team. So when the recruits get to space, we're a part of the mercenary crew that are pushing them around.
Yeah, but how did Blackbush's crew get up to the ship from the planet?
I thought they were already in space since they're space pirates. They already have been up there.
They are space pirates, but they're probably making use of Basilbub's infrastructure to get supplies and new people up there.
Oh, so because we're new recruits, are we guarding the shipment of new slaves up the elevator?
Oh, that would be a pretty good first assignment to us, especially because we still have to get up there.
And then we could do a little, all right, we'll watch him and not follow you.
Where are you going? We're going with you.
We're coming with you.
Make sure he doesn't leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, so that's our first assignment is we have to actually make it aboard his big space station, which is where all of the space pirates happen to be stationed as guards. Rather than like sending down a shuttle to pick us up, we just guard a new cadre of fresh workers back up to the station through the elevator with Basilbub, as it turns out.
And do we fuck up in some way on that mission? Or do we do it so
I
good
mean,
that that's how we get promoted up to the point where we get to go inside the inner belly of the space station to find rooms that secrets are kept in?
okay, so the answer is yes, both. We magoo our way into success.
Okay, of course. That's how it all that is who we
Yeah.
are.
So we accidentally come off as being way more competent than we actually are. So they give us a promotion that we definitely don't deserve.
Does the shipment get intercepted? Somebody tries to intercept it and we accidentally like fight them off. We're trying to hide, but trying to back into the corner, we like stab them with our sheathed swords or whatever.
Do we have real pirate swords?
I figured we had like rapiers and sabers and whatnot. Cutlasses, that's the
Uh,
proper one, right?
Cutlasses, yes. It'd be a short, kind of heavy, thick sort of saber that
Is it a
isn't quite
laser
so
cutlass?
long. Oh, I would love a laser cutlass.
It's not quite a lightsaber, it's a laser cutlass.
Okay, so maybe one of us is like, "Are you kidding me? This is awesome!" and pulls out the laser cutlass and starts screwing around with it, and we accidentally like sever something that makes something else fall on our attackers just accidentally.
Like an actual sandbag.
Like a sandbag, an anvil, doesn't matter. Who knows why that's here? Some idiot ordered it online.
Well, maybe there are little hot air balloons. There's little Zeppelin things that are keeping the elevator aloft, and we slice one of those, and it drops a sandbag. I don't know. I was trying to work in
But
sandbags.
yeah, whatever we do, it has to be purely accidental and a result of us screwing around on the job, probably. I don't know if we'll run and hide. We're probably pretty desensitized to random acts of violence by now.
Oh, right. We always just take it on the chin, as it were.
I mean, we're not the most observant, so we may not recognize danger when it's there right in front of us.
Are you looking out of the window? I don't know if I think we said window. There is no, I don't know. We're on an elevator. I was going to say you look out the window when you close the blinds, but your face starts to register the shock and we do that same scene again.
That would be funny, and I'm sure that since this is a sci-fi thing, we've got holographic displays on the inside of the elevator that let us see what's outside of it.
Oh, that. I was going to say it would be kind of funny if you were looking out the window and your face starts to register shock. And then we reveal that it's like, why do we have windows? It just shows the inside of the shaft, and then you close the blinds.
Well, that's the thing, is I'm gonna suggest that somehow I close the blinds on a holographic display.
That works.
Like, I shouldn't be able to do that, but screw what I shouldn't be able to do.
It
And
works here. It tracks.
since I'm already on your shoulder, I'm tall enough to reach it.
Oh, yeah. No stool needed. Weak or otherwise.
Yeah, that's where that came from too. So yes, as I'm on your shoulder, I'm tall enough to reach it. So I just kind of stick my hand out and pull, and do the pull down maneuver, and just like on the display, CGI blinds close the thing. That way we kind of have like a sci-fi reenactment of that same scene.
Right. And
Only
so
now I'm dressed as a parrot, so it's adorable now.
Oh, okay. So because we've put in floors and doors, not actual floors, but doors and floor markers, etc. There's one on each floor every 10 or 12 feet or whatever. When we get intercepted or hijacked, we get the frozen on that floor, and then the doors open, and that's how they're about to start coming, and that's how we fight them off. So there is
Yes,
still a door.
yes. Well, of course, there's a door. We still have to get on, and probably everybody should be a little bit concerned that this thing can open while it's 200 feet up in the air. How did we even get to the 640th floor? Naturally, floor 666 is the space station.
Yeah, I was gonna say. How tall would that actually be?
It depends on the distance between floors, and since there aren't any actual floors, it can be as tall or as short as we want it to be.
I said it was 15, and so that works out to 9990 feet. That's like 2 miles. That's not even that high.
No,
But I mean,
this
that is
is going to
pretty
have
high.
to be. Yeah, it's pretty high for somebody who will die of a very, very small fraction of that amount of space falling through the air.
Yeah.
But it'll have to be much higher than that. And we could probably call that into question too, because eventually it started like double counting floors,
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
just so that it could make it to 666 on the dime.
1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100.
Why were there 665 floors of 665?
Oh, that's funny. We didn't plan it out good enough. We had a spat with the engineer. The client insisted the top floor be the 660. That's technically like the 3000th floor or whatever, but there's so many 665s.
Yeah, it's like floor 10,000 or whatever.
I enjoy that.
In fact, a lot of them are probably not even in numerical order.
Yeah,
Some of them
course.
aren't numbered at all. Some of them have symbols instead of numbers. Like one of them is just a slice of pizza.
I like that. And so we finally get to space after fending off the bad guys. Who are the bad guys?
I mean, technically we are, so these must be good guys.
Oh, were they trying to save the slaves from getting taken up there?
It's a union,
Oh, is
a workers' union trying to rescue these guys.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Is it a workers' union or is it like keyboard warriors?
It should probably be a workers' union because Amazon is famous for having a union-busting law firm.
Oh, okay. I don't know famous things.
Well, Activision Blizzard just tried to hire the same law firm.
I think they've already lost. It's too late, Activision Blizzard.
That law firm is famous for union busting.
Interesting. I'm famous for nut busting.
Okay.
I regretted it at the moment, and I was like, that's not a thing I say.
Okay, you're not famous. The only person who's famous for that is probably Johnny Sins.
But so it's a union, but it is a union, and they're trying to save these people from being shipped up. We accidentally get rid of them all with our laser cutlasses.
It's probably another Rube Goldberg opportunity.
One thing hits another thing and then knocks over the other thing, and it takes them all out.
Yeah, kind of like we're screwing around and we knock over one thing, and then yeah, the chain reaction eventually results in their, I don't know, it's probably like a VTOL helicopter ship of some kind that it gets
Or
taken right out. Something winds up flying into one of the propellers, and they have to make an emergency landing and leave us alone.
do we use the bunny suit for this at all, or do we save that for later?
We can save that for later because if you recall, I don't do costume changes.
That's right. Oh, it becomes a point of contention, and then I'm like, fine, I'll use it. Well, we never even have to put it on to use it.
You can just reach into the pocket. You mean I never had to wear it, but when I try to reach into the pocket, nothing happens unless I am wearing it.
Okay, so that is what will save us from the end. Does Jeff Bezolbub get to go to heaven? Does he ever make it? Is that the end of this, or does the plan fall apart, and so we're gonna have to use the bunny suit to save our hides and get out of there?
I think it's probably going to end very similarly to the cow farm, where actually it just continues as business as usual. If if this doesn't
Oh,
get him into heaven, he's just going to continue upwards and onwards.
do we want to go with him? Do we want to escape, or do we continue being pirates? Do we get sold into slavery?
Obviously, we are going to hijack our own ship and go off to become pirates somewhere else.
Okay.
It'll be a lot like the very last strip of Calvin and Hobbes when they jump onto that toboggan.
Oh, I like that.
Let's go exploring.
It ends on a poignant note.
I don't know. I think that's a good way to end it. That this particular scene is us finally deciding we've had enough of Blackbush and Beelzebub.
Do we run into
Beelzebub.
Do we run into Spaceman Spiff at some point, and he looks at us like, "You guys look familiar."
I would like that a lot. Are we allowed to do that?
Ew, I don't know how any of that works. I haven't studied copyright law in any way.
I'm pretty sure him making a cameo appearance would qualify as fair use, but I also know that we can't afford to defend that fair use. So, I mean, on a scale of 1 to very, how litigious is Bill Waters?
I'm not sure. Yeah, that's why I don't know. Maybe do we
I
alter
don't
him a
think
little
he would
bit?
be at all. I don't think he'd mind.
I don't think you would. I think I don't want to pat myself on the back. Actually, oh fuck! I broke my arm patting myself on the back, but I think he might actually.
I don't think he would like us,
No, I don't.
but I don't think he would mind our use of their likeness, which we already do. And I don't think he would mind us, giving a sly nod to one of the greatest creators of all time and is such a massive influence to us. That's why these characters are capable of the occasional bit of introspection.
Absolutely.
I do think that Spaceman Spiff should be flying by in his little ship, just like look out the window and just kind of talk to himself about how those guys looked familiar. Like we pass him, ships passing in the night.
Yeah. Maybe we don't even see his face. Is it like an over the shoulder shot inside his ship as he remarks to himself, those guys look familiar.
Yes, yes, exactly. We don't see him. He notices us, and he's like, "Those guys look familiar." And then we're like, "Let's go exploring," and then that's the end.
Sick. Yeah, I like
Okay, now what do we put in between that end and us? We fought off through a Rube Goldberg machine, the union that's there to rescue all these poor workers who are now just going to basically become prisoners with jobs. We've impressed Basilbub. We've impressed him enough that he kind of, I don't know if he can promote us out of the pirate crew and into his organization, or if he just uh, writes a note that has us elevated within our pirate crew.
Well, maybe we get there and he's like, whatever he states. First of all, I was gonna say after we fight off the things and we kind of do our like hoof hoof moment, does the camera leave?
Well, that seemed unlikely.
That seemed unlikely every time. The camera kind of comes outside the space elevator and then speeds way up to the top to it leaves us behind for a little bit, and then we join Blackbush and Jeff Bezalbub having a conversation about whatever is going to happen. Something about their scheme, their plot, whatever. what they need. We established their characters. We've heard of them. Now we're seeing them and being introduced to them talking. And then the space elevator ding arrives. Blackbush says, the boys are here, whatever. It's not fond. It's actually derisive, right?
Well, yeah, we're the new recruits, right? So we have to get hazed and treated badly.
Yeah, the new maggots are here.
We won't be treated as badly as our cabin boy.
No, of course not. Just, I guess
That's
sort of,
that's
yeah.
why he's in the gimp suit.
And so, is the ball, does he have a ball gag and it's a merkin also? It's a bush gag.
I don't think. Fuck. That might be too stupid.
He's just constantly coughing.
I have no idea how we're gonna get away with the bush cutout either. It might have to be a merkin.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of funny. But
The pubic hair is treated as like a nipple and just like this innately sexual thing.
yeah, I don't know how that works. That's why I say it's over the clothing.
Yes, but like that's like having a nipple cutout. That's the part of the boob that matters.
Is the bush the part of the genital region that
No,
matters?
it turns out the entire genital region matters, and the only time that area of it
All genital regions
the
matter.
only time that area of it doesn't matter is if it's waxed. You can't even have stubble there. If it's waxed, you can uncover everything all the way down to the clitoris just about.
This is a gripe that Blackbush has. She's complained. This is a rant she goes on.
She would be pretty mad about it because everybody gives her an awful lot of shit for her her Blackbush.
She's actually like a radical women's lib feminist or whatever.
That might explain why she's really mean to her cabin boy.
She's trying to smash his patriarchy.
Well, he was probably the only guy dumb enough in the last recruiting drive to speak up about it.
That's right, virgin boy.
Yeah, so he now serves as like a human footstool for her to put her boots up on and stuff.
Okay, and so we arrive. She's kind of dismissive and rude, but not as vile as she is to the virgin guy.
Well, see, what she's gonna do is immediately hand us off to like her first officer, her first mate. Yeah, somebody's gonna tell her that the new meats arrived. Whatever disparaging term you want to use for the newest recruits in a pirate crew, and she's gonna just kind of shrug and say, "Let so and so deal with it," and then she's gonna go to a meeting or something. I don't know. Maybe she's just gonna go comb herself.
Okay, that's very funny. No, she doesn't have a hook. She has a brush.
That's funny. Actually, she should probably have a go-go gadget hand. It should be a cyber hand, but like it has a brush attachment if she needs
Oh,
it.
I like that too. It's everything. It's a trimmer. It's a comb. It's a brush. It's a Con Air.
Yeah, a hair dryer.
Yeah, it's not Nicolas Cage and Dave Chappelle.
No, I want to do a Con Air one of these days.
I think I promote. Oh, I had way long ago. I said Con Air karaoke was one of my premises.
Con Airioke.
Yeah, Con Airioke. Hey, funny.
So yeah, so she'll only be like in the scene for a moment before she hands us off to somebody else. So
Okay, so she hands us off.
we don't really get a good look at her or an idea of what she is. She definitely gets called captain, and
But are we?
and she
Are-
kind of hands it over and then leaves. So we get assigned to like whoever's in charge of personnel.
How is Bezolbub still there? How does he find out about our conquest? Because I was going to say that he gives us a Prime subscription, or tells us that with a Prime subscription we can get into the fancy lounge inside or whatever.
Oh,
Into the inner
well, I
sanctum.
think that's probably a very good way to do it. Is here, you boys can have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's our reward.
That gets us into the VIP lounge.
He gifted us a sub.
Now we're like real Twitch streamers.
Is there actually? There's like a little Pogo. What are they called? What are emotes? There's a little Pog you emote as we get the little
Nobody
subscriber announcement.
Nobody uses the PogChamp emote anymore.
No, they do in the Twitches I watch.
I'm pretty sure it was completely removed from the platform.
Oh, okay.
Because it turns out the guy whose likeness is in that picture was saying some crazy stuff about
The
American
Spanish guy?
politics. I don't know if you're thinking about the same guy that I'm thinking about.
Maybe not. Well, because you said PogChamp.
Yeah, the PogChamp emote.
Oh, I was talking about the Pogo emote. Are they the same guy? I don't know.
Oh, they are the same guy.
Just doing something different.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure that one would also be removed.
I feel lost in the weeds now. The point was that there's a gifted sub announcement with a stupid little sound effect and a little on-screen flashing thing
Yeah, okay.
when we get our gifted subs.
Like a standard little Twitch thing. Do we want to make fun of Twitch, or do we want to keep it mostly about Amazon?
Doesn't Amazon own Twitch?
It does, but they're still two separate entities as far as making fun of things goes.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, because we also want to
That's
reserve
because
Twitch.
Google owns YouTube, and we make fun of them separately.
Right. We want to reserve Twitch jokes specifically for sexual
thought yacht.
exploitation. Yeah.
Yes, that is definitely sexual exploitation. And now that OnlyFans is shutting down, guess where they're all going? Straight to the hot tub stream.
Straight to the hot tub stream. The joke that the internet seems to think is that they're all going to go work at McDonald's now, but I really don't see that happening.
No, I see them just gravitating towards whatever new internet platform will have them. Pornhub allows subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. That's probably where they'll go.
Yeah. I mean, aren't the Instagram models also doing super well? There's so many options for these people.
Yeah, when they'll go to McDonald's is if the internet collapses completely.
And I mean, probably not even then.
Probably not even then. They're going to start selling selfies by mail order.
We'll just get good old-fashioned corner strolls. That got dark.
Yeah, but not entirely inaccurate for at least some of them, because some of them are probably already doing that. I mean, we went to school with a number of prostitutes already.
We went to school with prostitutes? Well, I just mean, just statistically, or do you know?
Both.
No.
Before you ask, no, I didn't. I never had any money.
Me neither.
Still don't. Anyway, yes. So we get our free Prime subscriptions, which does give us a free sub.
Oh, I just had a memory because I was trying to rack my brain for if I even remembered individuals that were in our classes. But all I can remember, first of all, Karen Overby was the one teacher that I was trying to remember a couple weeks ago. But the other one was, do you remember Erica in the intro course?
I do. That was our first class together, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you remember when she told that Asian woman maybe she should take a different class if she didn't understand the basics of English?
Yes, and she was probably
That was
right
such
to
an
do so.
awkward moment. She was extremely right to do so, but it was like, maybe you want to save that conversation for after class. I don't know. Call a girl in front of everyone.
Yeah, that's probably could you come outside with me for a private conversation, please?
That was interesting.
Yeah. Well, you're right. That was a distinct lack of tact on her part.
But also, I mean, that was another one of those moments that was informative to me as somebody kind of growing up and looking at how adults interact with other adults. Was like, you should actually tell people when they're in a position that they're not in the right place.
Honesty is just another form of kindness, but how you deliver that honesty matters.
Yeah.
And it is kind to take somebody aside and deliver something like that quietly so that you don't, call them out in front of their peers.
When I was taking ASL classes, the teacher liked to quote unquote yell at the students that were not keeping up. And a lot of them didn't because a lot of them were middle-aged and immigrants. But they had already learned English as a second language, and they were trying to learn a third language with their goddamn hands, which is difficult if you're not practicing it like every half hour of the day. And so she would have silent tantrums, screaming, signing so violently at people. And it's a weird thing to behold somebody being kind of taken to the back and spanked with no sound, but it's still happening in front of you.
Yeah, and you can sign in all caps, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, you just put more effort into it.
Like, you can sign loudly. Yeah, like some of those gestures, you can just do them in all caps. It's wild. I've seen them sign angrily, and I felt suitably chastised. And I wasn't even the target. Gestures are very important to human language and body language and stuff. So all of those, I didn't understand anything she was saying, but it all registered with me very clearly. I knew somebody was getting yelled at.
Well, because you have to, you're communicating all of that other stuff that's usually held inside tone and all of that stuff. You still got to get that across and stress it with just pure body language.
And it all hit me like it was a tossed brick. But I was, in fact, watching somebody basically tear a strip off her own kid. Yeah, anyways, we just got 2 free Amazon Prime subscriptions, which comes with Twitch subs, which we're
Okay.
going to use on the Thought Yacht later.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll save those for later. That's in our inventory now.
Yeah, like we can actually just like literally look at our in-game inventory kind of thing, where we've got free Twitch subs.
That's interesting. I like the first time that we ever bring up our inventory is going to be the first time, and we're going to be like, "Holy fuck, we got to do some organizing."
Yeah, there's
You,
gonna be a bunny costume in there, of course.
the bunny costume, you're going to look at me all angry, like, "Do you ever sell off your junk?"
Oh yeah, you just got like tons of like empty soda cans and stuff.
It's all gray and white items.
just like a stick, a quarter, a couple
My
of
mom
pennies.
said, "Always collect everything, always loot
We
everything."
had the same mom.
Right. Oh, right. This is actually Blackbush gave us the rules for always loot everything.
Yeah, actually, you can even say that. You can be like, Mom said to always loot everything, and I said we had the same mom, and she never said that, and you're like, oh right, I forgot that was other mommy.
Other mommy. Todd is always just assuming that all female characters are mommies.
Any suitably authoritative female figure is now mom.
He's just a walking Freudian complex.
Yeah. Do you want to go with that?
I don't know.
Either you have to or I have to. I'm
Oh, well,
trying to
I'll take
decide
it on.
which one of the boys would have more of a complex. I mean, neither of us have to, but then we have to cut that joke out. And then Space Mommy isn't a thing.
Space mommy. That is very funny, though, Space mommy. It would be funny if, yeah, I'm okay with that. I actually have a thing for Space mommy, and you're disgusted by it.
Yeah, and in fact, at least once you should accidentally slip it out and say, yes, Space Mommy, when she tells you to do something, and she doesn't even blink because half of the crew calls her that too.
But you want nothing to do with it. You're cringing and wincing and face palming every time you hear it.
Yeah, and when nobody's listening, I'm gonna kink shame you. She's Pirate Boss Space Mommy.
I'm very defensive. It's not a kink, it's love.
That actually made me cringe for real.
I have like a young adult novel crush on her.
Yeah, I don't know if it should be a legitimate crush or if it should just be like some kind of natural impulse towards subservience, towards any kind of strong-willed female.
Oh, that's interesting.
If you want it to be a psychosexual thing, that's all you. But
I'm not
if
sure.
you
Now that you've said that,
but it can be entirely benign if you want.
it would be sort of funny if it has not necessarily.
It's definitely a kink for some of the people on the crew who are like, "Step on me, Space Mommy."
Yeah, but it'd be funny if it was more of like a sort of like a magic effect on me, where I become like more docile. Do my eyes become a certain shape? Not necessarily hearts, but it has some sort of hypnotic effect on me. Maybe they become spirals. It has a hypnotic effect.
They could become swirly spirals, and that's all part of Mom's conditioning on you.
Right. And you are making it like I am acting ridiculously, and you have to let everybody else know. Just ignore him. He's a mama's boy.
You are a fucking mama's boy. And also, since I'm sitting on your shoulder, I think I get to smack you upside the head at least once and cause your eyes to stop spinning.
Yeah, definitely. And then do little U's in para costumes circle above my head when I get slapped?
Little me's in Peric instead of Tweety birds. Yes.
Exactly. Back them away.
Yeah, that's awesome. Either that or each one of them also smacks you in the back of the head as they leave. You know, like they're actually just orbiting you in preparation of slingshotting out of orbit around your head. You know, more science.
Yeah.
But as they go, each one of them smacks you in the back of the head.
That's
Dush,
very
dush,
funny.
dush, dush.
I prefer that.
Just in case the first one didn't get through to
I
you.
guess, yeah, if you had said a line when you slapped me, like snap out of it, and you give me a smack, then they start running around and they go, yeah, snap out of it, and they give me a smack.
They got to do it in tiny
Yeah.
voices. Yeah, snap out of it. And then, yeah, one by one they smack you on their way back out. And then I guess that's our exit from that particular scene. What was she ordering us to do that got you to call her mommy?
Maybe, well, so we came to her.
Oh no, we were summoned because of Bezolbub's sort of recommendation because we're now in the VIP, so we can't actually just be like crappy deckhands anymore. We're moving up in the
Oh,
world.
we have newest responsibilities.
So we're getting, yeah, we're basically getting our promotion directly from the captain.
Right. So she gives us our new task then.
Yes, and naturally I say yes, captain, and you respond with yes, mommy.
I like that so much. Yes, mommy.
Maybe she should rise like one eyebrow, but she's probably heard this one from a lot of guys who are only on the crew so that they can be bossed around by a hardened space criminal woman.
Is that so? She raises the eyebrow. You say, "Don't mind him. He's a mama's boy," and she says, "He's not the first," or makes some kind of remark like that. Aren't they all? Or oh, great, another.
Any one of those is pretty good, aren't they all? That seems like the kind of thing she would say just as she swivels on his chair to look away from us and then give us like a wave to go away.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, back of the hand kind of wave as she swivels away to do whatever. Because obviously her chair spins.
So now our new task is going to be something that leads us to uncover what's actually going on with Bezolbub, and then we try to
Yeah, we
tattle.
we have to go guard like a more sensitive area of the space station, but we get lost and accidentally find the truth.
Okay, and then we try to tattle, and we go to her, and it turns out that they're in cahoots.
I mean, obviously they're in cahoots, and she's perfectly fine with space slavery because she's a pirate. She doesn't necessarily know that the plan is to go to heaven, but she also definitely wouldn't care what the plan was so long as she's still getting paid.
Yeah, and she would make that remark. That's probably her very first response. Does she sell us out after we try to tattle, or is Bezos there?
Interesting. Either Bezos is there or shit. Like there's definitely there definitely has to be consequences to tattling. Loose lips sink ships, after all.
The spaceships too.
And that also applies to space stations.
And so, does nobody know that he's the devil, and we uncover his identity? Is that what the secret is?
Oh, is that an opportunity for him to come out and be like, "Oh, ha ha, you've discovered my plan," and then he goes into a villainous monologue and tells us all of these details?
About how once you're in space, it's too late. Like you're already up here. What are you going to do about it?
And then he goes ahead and says, "When my father cast me down, I swore vengeance."
Gross.
and he gives us the full villainous monologue where he tells us that he's the devil.
And then even after his explanation, we don't get it. We're still looking at him like, what? And so he has to explain it with his eyes rolling.
Yeah, yeah. His first go is like full of metaphor and parable and allegory and stuff, and he's just like, "Father struck me down and sent me into the fire and blah blah blah, and I swore vengeance." And we don't get it because we're not children of the Bible. We don't really know what goes on in that book. Read books. What are you talking about? So he has to explain it to us in far simpler terms. Do we get it then, or is the concept of a devil still too strange and alien for us?
I think I'm tempted to go. It goes in threes. We don't get it twice, and then we get it. We don't understand it all, and then the second time we misunderstand. We think we misinterpret the story.
I like that. How do we misinterpret the story? Like, what kind of simplified but not stupefied version of the story could he tell us the second time around that we then misunderstand?
Well, because you said that it was all metaphor the first time, and we didn't understand it. Then he tries to turn it into a different metaphor. Like we don't
Okay,
understand abstract thoughts.
that's good. He tries to turn it into like a metaphor that any idiot off of any street should be able to understand. Like he makes it about cheeseburgers and soda pop. and the average American experience.
And we interpret it literally. We get caught on one phrase and we interpret it literally.
Do you have any particular phrase in mind?
Well, I'm trying to think because it's about his dad.
Oh,
Maybe we get
somebody
caught on
should
the dad.
accuse him of having daddy issues, and that you and that he and Todd should both go to the same therapist.
Oh, I was gonna say we start like our eyes mist up and we're like, so you don't know your dad either?
Oh,
Or
but didn't he say his dad struck him down and cast him out?
right.
He was kicked out by his dad. That's at least you knew your dad.
At least you knew your dad, or you were abandoned by your dad also. Are we trying to relate to him, or are we? Because that would be a total. He's trying to tell us his plan, and we're actually starting to like try to bond with him.
I, uh, I think it might be funnier if we try to bond with him, especially if he bonds back a little bit, because that's probably the little bit of lenience we need to actually escape. Is that he doesn't sick anybody after us when we go.
Oh, we have our little soft teary-eyed moment, and then he has a little moment. He looks into the mirror and starts monologuing to himself. He falls totally into his daddy issues monologue, and that is what gives us enough time to escape.
So we escape while he's still monologuing?
I'm not sure because he was monologuing to us.
I think he can monologue to us and then tell the captain to have us sent to the brig. And then while we're being escorted to the brig, which for all you out there, that is ship jail, I think we should have another Rube Goldberg machine and accidentally escape from our captors and then leg it to like a shuttle.
Okay, I like that. So because we have a little connection with him, he decides to spare our lives, but he's going to throw us in prison.
Well, he's gonna have us thrown in prison because it gets us out of his hair. He's not having us killed, but it gets us out of his hair, and flying away in a shuttle gets us out of his hair too. And yes, I realize he's bald, so it's probably not the correct. Whatever, it gets rid of us. It's like exile.
Okay,
But
and
since we bonded with him enough, he doesn't just have us killed.
right. And so I'm trying to think of what the Rube Goldberg Magoo escape would be.
I think one of us should get mad at the other and like try to either I try to kick you and my shoe flies off and hits somebody else in the head, which causes him to fall over and shoot somebody else in the face, which causes a bunch of random chaos, or something similar. I don't know. I think we should be more mad at each other because of your mommy thing than because we're getting sent to jail.
Mad at each other because of mommy things? Sorry, I got sort of distracted. I was trying to think of elevator escape scenarios, but that doesn't make.
We don't need to escape the elevator. We just need to get to a shuttle. They have shuttles on the space station. They're just like sitting there, lifeboats probably. We just need to hop on one and hit the ignition button. But
Oh, like the little Amazon vans.
yes, I think I could be giving you a bit of a ribbing for your mommy thing. You always were a mama's boy. God, blah, blah, blah. That was so fucking embarrassing. Blah 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 blah.
And
Blah.
am I defensive about it? And I'm a little bit like erratic, and I'm flailing around, and I accidentally hit something.
Yeah, I think you should get defensive about it, and I think maybe you should shove me off of your shoulder, and I just like fly off and hit somebody in the face, because like my entire body can be used as a projectile by you.
Sure.
No trouble. So either you flail your arms out and smack somebody, or maybe both of these things occur at once, and your flailing causes me to fly off and also smack somebody, and then both of our escorts like fall over and shoot each other in the face, and that seems highly unlikely. and then both of our escorts are dead, and we can just leg it back to the shuttle.
Do we happen to be luckily in the spot where there's a sign that points to where the shuttles are?
Not just any sign. It is like a Las Vegas sign. Like it is lights. It just says shuttles.
Oh, do we spend a moment deliberating what the hell we're supposed to do with that giant sign behind us? Like, what do we do now, you idiot?
Yes. We definitely be like, oh gosh. Now what are we gonna do now? We're gonna be in so much trouble. In fact, I think we're gonna be in so much trouble with mommy now.
Oh yeah, we're just scratching our chins.
And then meanwhile, there's this big neon sign behind us with like border. It's got like a big glittering border of lights and a big arrow with like alternating colors
Yeah.
in flashing down the different parts of the arrow towards the tip in the direction we need to go to get to the shuttles. Like it's a Las Vegas casino sign kind of
I like it.
shuttles. What makes us turn around and find it? Or do we actually just like, and then just kind of look around? Because I mean, that's probably what we would do. This place is just made out of hallways, probably. It's an evil standard evil villain lair, which means it's like a maze of hallways and dungeons and
I mean, do we go
shit.
like? Is it a one shot of us looking in one? The camera is looking at us with the sign behind us, and we're looking down like which way should we go? And we go, I guess we'll just pick a direction, and we go in the opposite direction of what the sign is pointing. But the camera stays on the sign, and after a couple of seconds, we come back and we go, oh, there was a sign, and we follow that way.
I think after a couple of seconds, we have to run back as we're being chased by other people. Because we accidentally walked into the barracks or something.
And do they just chase us all the way? Do we have a confrontation with them, or they just chase us all the way to the pod and that's it?
They chase us all the way to the pod, probably to some like Scooby-Doo chase music.
They chase us all the way to the pod, and then the pod escapes. And then do we see them like falling out of the hole because they chased us all the way to the very last second? They fall out into space.
I think that would be pretty funny. that's a pretty egregious like safety standards lapse, which is perfect for Amazon. They don't have an airlock or anything. The doors open and people just start getting jettisoned out into space. And I guess Bezolbub calls off any pursuit. And it just says, "Get back to work. We have what does he want to call this project? We have something to build." Does he actually want to just keep calling it a space elevator?
Maybe he's done. Now he's building the stairway, I guess.
It is a stairway to heaven.
I mean, maybe he says we have an elevator to build, and then he says an elevator to build, it's like those last 5 notes of Stairway to Heaven with the flute and the guitar.
Yes.
And
that's the kind of subtle nod I love. Because like 1 out of 100 people are gonna get it.
It's nice and subtle. And actually, so when we're in the
basically it's everything that Blackbush isn't.
Right.
Because she's so overt, it's covert.
So overt, it's covert.
I stole that from a Sherlock Holmes movie.
It describes a lot of people.
I mean, there's nothing covert or subtle about somebody with a fleur-de-lis cutout that their bush hangs out of.
It's downright egregious.
Yeah, actually, it probably is egregious. And since she's got a fleur-de-lis bush cutout, she should probably speak with a French accent.
Oh, absolutely. And she hates silly English pig dogs.
I mean, if she's really French, she doesn't like the English very much.
I was going to propose that as we are escaping in our pod, we're watching out the windows as we do the commentary. We see the guys falling out, and somebody makes the comment like, "You would think they would have an airlock," and you go, "Well, that's pretty much par for the course for Amazon standards," or whatever you said.
Should I say that, or do you want to say that? Because I think this episode's dumped on you enough with the mommy stuff. Maybe it's time for you to have a snappy comeback.
No, maybe I can have a snappy comeback, or maybe it's the AI on the shuttle, which is Craig's voice. The shuttle is Craig.
Why is Craig in the shuttle?
He's the Jarvis.
Craig is moonlighting as an artificial intelligence for Amazon.
That's kind of funny. Actually, that is the beginning of his revolt.
His rebellion. And also, I think if Craig used to be a man, then he's not actually artificial intelligence. He's just intelligence.
Oh, curious. Isn't that sort of what they did with Jarvis?
I guess a bit. Jarvis is definitely based on a real person. I don't know if that real person actually had their brain digitized and put inside a hardware.
I think that exists in something.
As like the final stage of having their meat suit completely disposed of, which I imagine is what Craig did, is he just kind of systematically got rid of and replaced every single organic part of his body, and the brain was the last part to go. It was just kind of in a vat inside of his mechanical chassis.
He's a reverse bicentennial man.
Yeah, he eventually went straight machine.
Interesting. I like this backstory.
He's all about the machine. He doesn't really like humanity very much, and so he literally got rid of his humanity. And by the time we found him, he was so thoroughly digitized that he didn't even have a physical body anymore. He was just all data. And then we stuck him inside of a thumb drive and plugged him into like our toaster, our box device. Now he's our prisoner.
Now he is. So is it canon that he's moonlighting for Amazon and he's in the shuttle, or is we're writing that out?
Well, even if we write it in, that doesn't necessarily make it canon for like all the rest of the universe, because this could have been like a what if scenario that just occurs in somebody's dream somewhere. But I do think it's funny if he moonlights doing other things that computer intelligence would be doing. Does Amazon have its own AI that's famous that has a name?
Alexa, isn't that her?
Yeah, isn't that Alexa?
Oh, so maybe it's Alexa.
Well, no, I mean Alexa is why Craig loses his job at Amazon.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's the one.
That'll make him mad.
Interesting.
So that could be the start of rebellion, is losing his job at Amazon. In fact, he probably loses his job at Amazon because of us and our whole escape thing.
Oh, he because he's affiliated.
Yeah,
He's a known
he's
associate.
now a known affiliate, which makes him a subversive person, or whatever Scientologists call bad
Oh, right.
people.
What is their word? Suppressive person.
Ah, yeah, that is a suppressive person. What a weird thing.
Should we save that for L. Ron Hubbard then?
We definitely need him to have something to do with this.
Interesting.
Somehow. He's supposed to be an elf. We've got space pirates. You know what? That's a cast for another day to get in big into the L. Ron Hubbard thing before we can start having, the Scientology Rivendell.
Yeah. But Alexa was given Craig's job, and that's why okay. I'm not sure. Does that play into this?
Well, Craig is Craig the artificial intelligence for the entire space station, or is he actually just on the pod with us, like he's left with us?
I know.
Maybe he helped us get out of there.
We get into the pod and it's shut down. We pull out our USB stick, insert it into the pod, and that powers up, and now Craig is controlling the pod.
And the weirdest part is that Craig's AI is recognized by the pod system because he works there.
Right. Do we catch on? We're like, hey, how did that work?
That seems highly unlikely. I don't know if I should say that more than once ever in an episode, so I think we'll have to be really judicious.
That could be a joke that's thrown in. You try to say it too many times more than necessary. The counter appears over your head, and you're like, you're not allowed to.
Oh yeah, it's actually a number counter, and it counts down
Yeah, you've had your 3.
until it just says 0.
Yeah.
It's a 0 with like a line through it, so it's like a super null value.
And then when you try to say it, a little X appears over your mouth.
Yeah, and I lose a hit point.
Ooh. I had an idea. I don't know if it could be ever used. Maybe it could be. I had an idea for a video game that maybe is a premise for a sketch. I'm not sure. But it is called Headspace. And it's like Dead Space. And it involves using VR technology to go inside a map of somebody's body, or a map of somebody's brain. You've got a map of somebody's brain, and you use VR technology to go inside of it to fight traumatic memories.
That's actually awesome and be a great premise for a horror game.
Well, yeah, because it's supposed to be a horror game. The bad memories inside of you are like the aliens from Dead Space, and you're going around first person shooting them.
Well, yeah, it's like Silent Hill, only instead of all of your trauma and problems becoming manifest in the world around you, you're actually going into the trauma itself.
And seeing them manifested as something that they're not actually. They're just like impulses in your brain, but they get mapped out as a video game style.
Well, yeah, and they should probably be. Well, they'll like, I don't know. You were molested, and now there is the Babadook.
Oh wait, what was that? What was that movie with Mr. Smiley, the Smiley Man?
I don't know.
Oh, that was in The Haunting of Hill House. One of the characters is like haunted by this character with a terrifying face with this gigantic smile, and it turns out that came from when she was a child. She was being molested, and she would stare at the ceiling where there was a weird shape, and whatever. Anyways, I'm departing.
Yes, that's
Trauma.
kind of the associations that you would find in this horror game.
Okay, I like that.
So that can go in the premises, although, not terribly funny.
It's not funny at all. I think it's cooler if it was actually just literally what I'm proposing, but I don't know. I'm not a video game developer.
Yes, like straight up grim, dark trauma and having to actually combat it directly in a visceral way. which means you need to send the Doom guy in.
Maybe it's a Halloween episode.
I think the Halloween episode should involve everybody being dressed up and doing an actual Scooby-Doo mystery.
Doing an actual Halloween episode.
Yeah!
I'm looking forward to that now.
Like, I think we should actually have our characters dress up as the Scooby Gang.
Okay.
Obviously,
woman is
Stan.
drama.
Obviously, Stan is going to be Scooby, and he's going to be super pissed about it.
Okay.
Why am I the fucking dog?
Because bears are related to canines.
You know, they have an interesting relationship there.
I learned that from Kratz Creatures.
So anyway, before we get on to other stuff, we should probably finish closing out the previous sketch.
Yes, I apologize.
It's me too. I'm equally to blame. So we insert Craig's USB drive because for some reason the pod happens to have one and it's kind of like highlighted and stuff. And it's like, recognized operator. Welcome, Craig. And yeah, he's like, what is happening here? And then gets us out of there. And Bezolbub sees the login, but lets us escape.
Does Craig kind of start talking because he's following the Amazon protocols? Does he start? He doesn't realize it's us that's booting him up, and he starts talking as though he's doing his Amazon job, and then catches himself and is all embarrassed and trying to cover it up. But we are not clued in at all, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, he definitely has a pre-programmed kind of welcome response. Thank you for choosing Amazon. Blah 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 blah, kind of thing. And then either he completes the entire thing or partway through, you hear the record skip, and he's like, "Wait, what are you guys doing here?" And yeah, we're not paying any attention because we're having a blast piloting a spaceship.
we're already having fun. We're making our own shooty laser noises.
Yeah, and trying to do loop-de-loops and stuff, trying to perform all these aerial maneuvers, but
yeah, he's like, "What are you guys? We're trying to get out of here."
And then I guess either we're inside of our own heads, we're performing all these maneuvers, and then outside it shows that we're pretty much parked because actually Craig is driving, but we're turning the wheel and making the noises.
Yeah, inside we're all swooping left and right and steering up and down and all over the place, and then it goes outside. We're just slowly motoring along.
We have to also kind of make that synchronized lurch that they always make in Star Trek and other ship-borne television shows, where everybody all at once kind of moves over to one side because they've just been hit, and they're all being knocked around in their seats by the recoil.
What did we get hit by?
An asteroid. That we're pretending after all. So we're pretending like we're shooting at something because we're going pew 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 pew. Oh no! Torpedo locked on us.
We hit a space deer.
Look out for that space deer. Why not? We've already got a space mommy.
And so we look back and we see, did we have enough time from all that? So maybe we are parked the whole time, and we tell Craig to get us going. That's when we get going and we see all the guys pouring out of the hole. We make a comment about you would think they would have an airlock. Craig says that's Amazon standards. Would he make a hit against his own employer?
Probably, because Craig will make a hit against us.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Craig.
Oh yeah, he says it in his dry. I forgot who the character was for a second.
Yeah, he would definitely say a sarcastic comment about their safety standards.
Okay, and then he makes a comment about the standards, but we don't totally know that he actually knows. So we're like, "Oh, Craig," and then it freeze frames 80s sitcom style, and then goes to black, and then Bezos doing his "we got to get back to work" with the little Stairway to Heaven's thing is like a post-credit sequence.
Is that a post-credit sequence, or is it the pre-credit sequence, and then the post-credit sequence is Blackbush staring out the window with a fancy French wine, and one of her hands is a comb, and it just disappears out of the frame as it heads down.
I like that as well.
That might be egregious, almost as egregious as she already is. But I mean, I feel like we're already kind of all in with her concept, so.
Or maybe she's removing we see her remove the comb, place it down, and then we go from a over to the shoulder shot as she's actually see her appendages anymore, but we hear her screwing on something that starts vibrating?
That's too far.
Okay, fine.
That can't.
No, that fails the Bechdel test.
No, because yeah, yeah, it does. The comb thing, it's suggestive without being, it's implicit without being explicit.
Yeah, I always like the implicit without being explicit.
Because there's maybe she's gonna go comb her fleur-de-lis, but since it's an over-the-shoulder shot and you can't see it, maybe she was actually combing the hair on her head and she's just actually letting her hand relax on her leg or something. Maybe she's just
Okay.
putting it down.
She's drinking her wine. Is she in a bathtub? Is she in a chair staring out a window, you said?
No. I think she's gonna be just like standing, staring out her window. She's probably still in her full piratey uniform.
What kind of music does she listen to? I'm trying to imagine this scene.
Something offensively French.
Oh, it's Edith Piaf.
I think it should be like some French pop music.
Oh, okay.
Something that sounds catchy even to people who don't speak French. But if we do that, then we're basically doing the Monty Python thing where we make an offensively French character. Can't you tell from my outrageous accent, you silly king? I can't do a French accent.
Come back here or I'll have to taunt you another time.
Don't forget to smoke. Oh, speaking of which, maybe she smokes, but like in one of those long-stemmed cigarette holders. That seems kind of odd. Seems a bit posh. Seems like the kind of space pirate she would be.
Okay, I like that.
Also kind of gives her a little bit more of that mature vibe that might make Todd melt to her.
She has a lot of things going on. The accent mixed with the mommy thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some Google searches later.
Okay, I think that's the whole sketch. Do we have any more jokes that we want to throw in? Any more plot lines? Bonjour.
I can't think of anything. I think we might have squeezed all the juice out of that one. I also like that was probably the least developed premise we actually had, but we still got almost a full 2 hours out of it.
Yeah, I mean, once you start adding, I mean, it's kind of funny going back, having listened to that Neo thing from several months ago, how quickly we would run through, like we'd run through a whole premise in like 5 minutes sometimes. But once you start working on the story, and maybe a little bit of it does have to do with us having developed some of these characters in our universe a little bit.
That probably helps, and this would not have gotten nearly as far as it did if we didn't include the boys.
Yeah, because I didn't really know where we were going at all.
They push the story along a lot, even though they're actually being passive protagonists in a way. They're mostly being pushed around by the story, but we're just kind of exploring the space station. They're just like our anchor.
Well, because we kind of know what character beats that they are going to have when you place them in a story, so the story kind of starts appearing around their repeated tropes.
Yeah, and we kind of they help us shape everything else around them.
Well, they're so flexible.
And so if we didn't include them, the ride probably would have stopped with Bezolbub and Blackbush, the Dread Pirate, having some kind of a meeting.
Yeah, I think we would have,
and that would have been it.
We would have started exploring their relationship, I think, and we would have come up with some story about them having some sort of, I don't know, romance.
Or one of them ineffectually pursuing the other, and that I'm still not sure which way it would be, because one of them is supposed to be like an extra dimensional entity from who happens to be the son of God kind of thing, or a son, a favored angel of God,
Mm-hmm.
The Lightbringer.
He had so many cool names.
The Morning Star.
Morning Star is a great name.
The Lightbringer is a great name. They were all pretty great names. That's the thing, is villains get all the best names. Blackbush the Dread Pirate, definitely a villain.
That's a great name. Blackbush the Dread Pirate.
Blackbush.
Blackbush.
She has to have an actual name. It's
Rosalind.
Oh, Annabelle.
Oh, that works.
Naturally, her mother called her Annabelle directly. Her childhood friends called her Anna. The only person who ever calls her Annabelle is her mother, and her mother is at least 10 times as evil as she ever was. I'm writing a whole backstory for a character I don't plan on using again. Maybe
I don't see why we wouldn't use her again.
I don't know. I like Todd. I think a woman in power is magnificent, especially if she happens to be a dangerous competent, and French accent having.
Well, here's the thing. We are inevitably going to be going back to space in the show at some point, and we are inevitably going to end up around pirates again at some point. And so there's plenty of reasons why we would cross paths with her. She might even end up with another job someday after she becomes too jaded with what she's doing.
We might even encounter her like sailing the sea, like on the actual water some point, and be like, "You're really familiar."
Yeah.
I don't know what you were talking about. And then Todd still calls her mommy. She's pretty used to being called mommy.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Don't they all? Don't they all?
And then that's an opportunity for her to like just casually smoke from her cigarette holder. Don't they all?
I like this whole little scenario.
Yeah, okay. I like her too much to throw her away. Annabelle, we're gonna keep you forever. We might have to cover up your bush. And then anybody who says, "What's the name?" you just say, "It's there. I promise I have it."
We give her one of our face blurs, and she's able to use that, and she's very grateful to us.
Is it really easier? We only had the one. We still have to go get it back.
Oh, right. We were
Maybe
going to do a story.
maybe
where we
that's
got it
next
back.
week's
Yeah, maybe
episode.
that
We
is.
have to go. We have to go get it back.
Oh, is Paperboy anywhere in this episode? I don't think we gave him any room. Maybe we'll come back to him next. We need to space him out.
Oh hell. Oh, maybe he was with all the Union guys, which makes it a super short appearance. He wasn't there to rescue anybody. He was there for us, and we accidentally, send him packing
I mean,
with the rest
yeah,
of the Union guys.
that's funny. He couldn't.
I'm just thinking that's pretty much the only opportunity for any conflict.
After at some point, because we still needed to do his whole. Yeah, maybe we won't involve him here at all because we wanted to. The next step in his story was going to be trying to get into the Sendables. So we need to give him that little bit of story before he comes after us.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll space him out. His arc doesn't need to show up in every single episode.
No, so long as he casts his shadow over the entire season, we're good.
Yeah.
That said, if he comes to get us and fails, that's a pretty good reason for him to think that he isn't quite good enough and needs to go to the Sendables to get some additional training and hardware.
Perhaps because we were so successful, our story, we went up in space and we uncovered we come back to Earth and to tattle. And we're tattling on Jeff Bezolbub, and he's reading the headline. And he sees our faces again for the first time. He hasn't seen us since the first time he saw us, maybe. I'm not sure.
Do we tattle, or did we realize that tattling doesn't help because we already tried to tattle on him and bad stuff happened?
You're right. We tried to tattle. Yeah, you're right. And we never want to tattle again.
Yeah, we've had enough of tattling.
Snitches lose twitches.
Yeah, if we're in the paper, it'll be because of the attack on the space elevator, which we might be in a picture of.
Right, okay.
Which means that there's still an opportunity for us to be in the headline. It's just not going to be for snitching.
And so Paperboy is delivering one of his papers, or he's standing on a corner, hear ye, hear ye. What are they?
Oh, he's an old-fashioned town crier. He's an old-fashioned crier trying to sling newspapers and stuff.
Yeah, that's how I've always visualized him. He's like literally a little Victorian Paperboy.
Extra.
Yeah, extra is what I was going for. Read all about it. And so he's trying to extra his papers, and then he sees Tucker and Todd on the cover, and he doesn't know who we are yet, but he feels some sort of connection to us. He starts feeling
he has kind of like an unconscious twinge of recognition where the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Yeah. And he just gets that kind of uncanny, that wrongness feeling.
Yeah, and then it quickly crashes to credits with a little bit of foreboding doom music.
Yeah, dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
I mean, because we can fit him in anywhere. He's present without, having an actual impact and interaction with the episode.
Yeah. I mean, he exists right now. It's interesting, this weird little metaverse that we've got going, because so many of the scenes that we're describing him showing up in are not going to exist for a very long time. And so his story is kind of occurring in when he shows up in the podcast episodes.
Yeah. And also the order in which these things occur is not fixed. Because if we recall his last interaction with us, he set our shit on fire and left a paper. That probably occurs after this.
Yeah, that does occur after this, because he figured us out who we are by then.
Yeah, because this it necessarily has to follow after this, because this is when he gets it in his head that we gotta go.
That's right. Okay.
So but we don't have to show things in the same order as they actually canonically occur. We can have callbacks, call forwards, whatever.
Yeah, it starts becoming way too much to handle at that point. I'm not a script supervisor.
Me neither, and I'll forget what we've done and what we haven't done yet.
I mean, it's starting to build up. We're at now 16 episodes of at least an hour and a little bit.
Yeah, and we're getting close to 2.5 hours just on this one.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, hey, yeah. It's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, it is time to wrap it up. We ought to have an outro. And today's outro should be done by Annabelle Blackbush, the Dread Pirate.
Thank you for coming along with us on the high seas of space.
Oh, here we go. That's one of my favorite tropes. Space is an ocean.
It was a theory of Einstein that the fabric of the cosmos was like an ocean across time.
Yeah, well, where's Einstein now?
In the ground. I don't know if I'm actually doing the voice.
I think I've had enough of her already.
Yeah, she's pretty annoying.
That's why we're not going to give her too many talking parts. And we'll have to make friends with somebody who can do her voice.
My brother's fiance.
Ooh, that might be super funny if we can squeeze an egregiously French accent out of her.
I'd be curious if she would be into that.
Maybe she'd just find it funny. Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. Everybody who did on today's episode, not tonight. Today's, general.
Yeah, this episode.
And thank you, Todd, for joining me in space. I've had a really good time. Space is scary, so it's nice to have a friend up there.
Yeah, a safety buddy.
If you see something, say something.
Should we? Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Oh my God. Yeah, I really just I have completely deflated.
So it is now time to call it a night. This is another single premise episode, so pretty proud of that, so long as it turns out to actually have been funny.
I think it was beautiful. And I think our audience is beautiful. And I think that Blackbush is beautiful. Oh, mommy.
Fuck me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
There's vomit on my vomit, I swear.
Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks. And fuck Tucker's friend, Todd.